Well, I hope that worked. Oh my goodness. Sorry for the lateness, folks. The computer just decided to be a crappy, garbage computer on me. Now I'm saying that, it'll probably be even worse. Welcome, everyone, to Clobberin Times, issue number 133. 833 overall, of course, for all time. I guess it's a little open geek foolishness here. No big plans. Never know what could happen. Anything goes. Now, let me see. Oh, what is? Man. Let's see here. I think I got. Oh well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to whatever show this is tonight. No. But it's good to see some wonderful friends here already. And of course, the magnificent, the extraordinary Purple Valkyrie, the beautiful lady who was so kind enough to have me on her show this morning, and I really, really had a marvelous time, as always, hanging out and talking with you, Purple. Really appreciate you. Love you. You are fantastic. And anyone, of course, again, her channel, her wonderful, lovely channel, and many others, of course, I have links in my description below if you have not already. And if you're here, you probably have. But if you haven't, please go to Purple's wonderful channel and subscribe and support that channel. She's just extraordinary. And again, thank you so much for this morning, Purple. Had a wonderful time talking about Invincible this morning. The great Lord Thoth Avon lives, and long live the Legion, sir. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. I appreciate you, bud. Steve Mitchum. What's up, brother? Always good to see you, buddy. I don't know what it is with my pronunciation. I'm just a dumbass, but I'm sorry. Elagabulas. One day I'm going to get you to just teach me how to pronounce that. So I'm sorry. I finally figured out how to pronounce Snortopupus cubers. Snortopupus. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. Trying to get to see who else is there. Darren M., welcome. It is great to see you. Greetings and felicitations indeed. Thank you for being here. The great Pat S. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. It is great to see you. J-Man, welcome, sir. There's a link in my description below, I do believe. I'm pretty sure I put it there. To J-Man's extraordinary channel. And so it is good to see you, my friend. I'm pretty sure I put it in there. D. Olberg, long time no see, buddy. It's good to see you. All right, my friend. So always a pleasure. The great Just Joe 47. That reminds me, you always remind me of Flash when I see you, Jobber. I think Flash might come and swing by and hang out. I don't know. Mark D with a C. I'm so Mark D with a C. Sorry about today, bro. I mean, when you told me what time you're and he has a channel, by the way. It is linked in the description below as well. Mark D with a C is his great new channel. He streamed today, and he told me, well, the time he just told me that his time zone, and I just didn't click with me. It didn't click when he was talking about his time zone, and I missed it. I have my reminder set it and everything, and I'm just an idiot. Brightest day. What's up, buddy? Great to see you, my friend. Here. Making sure I got everybody. I think I'm up to speed now. Oh, the great Chris Persia. What's up, bud? Appreciate you, sir. Good to see you. Oh, man, good. All kind of great people here tonight. I'm assuming it's quite busy out there in the YouTube sphere tonight. Quite crowded with many of our dear friends out there streaming. I don't know. It was my bad for not even thinking about that one, buddy. I'm an idiot. But I appreciate you, bro. I hope my computer doesn't do that to me again. Cripes. I'm trying. Oh boy, don't. Man, it just kind of went whacked out on me here. All right, so let's see here. Yes, I got all the proper links in there in my description below, of course, to J-Man's Fine channel and many other great channels there. Robert, welcome, sir. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see here. Ironcaster, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, bud. Happy Wednesday to you, sir. Let's see a few show notes. Again, if you did miss it and you are interested in hearing some Invincible talk, go to the link below on Purple Valkyrie's wonderful channel from this morning, because I was so honored to be her guest this morning and had so much fun hanging out with her, discussing all things Invincible Season 1. And again, that was just so much fun. I really appreciate it. So, anyway, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Global Geek Gang assembles. Yes, indeed. For another fine broadcast of absolute geek foolishness. Thank you, Lord Thoth, brother. I appreciate you that. Dad Man Walking 80. I'm 55. I got to get my screen closer and wipe it off too. Dad Man Walking 55. Great to see you. Jace 540. Welcome. Always a pleasure to see you there. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate you. So, yes, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Global Geek Gang shall once again assemble. And as you used to say in comics, the world will never be the same. It probably will be the same, but we're going to say that anyway, because we're geeks and we like to exaggerate shit like that. So, yep. And again, of course, this Saturday night, as always, my magnificent first officer, the extraordinary Raquel Briggs, and myself, Commander Raquel Briggs, I should say, will bring you. We were continuing, and we're getting close. This would be our penultimate episode review of Star Trek. As you all know, our ongoing mission every Saturday night is to review all of real Star Trek. That is, of course, 66 to 05, the real deal. And of course, we are having just an absolutely wonderful time, and so much of that, not only because, again, her company is just so fantastic and I love hanging out with her. I could hang out with her all day and we can have a fantastic time. But you all also make it a lot even more fun, like a big con sort of thing, where we all get together and just talk some Trek. And we've got 5 more for you. Yeah, it's going to be rough, but we got 5 this week and 5 next week. We're doing that so we can expedite matters, as you might say, and there's going to be some rough ones here. Yeah, oh yeah, some rough ones, but we're going to get through it. So the next 2 weeks it'll be 5 and 5, and don't worry. I know we take a long time with these things with the 4, but we're going to speed up the 5. We're going to make a system where we do it. We're going to do it at least as fast. I know we don't do 4 fast, but we're going to make 5 no longer than the 4. I promise. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to pull that off, but we're going to do our damnedest. So anyway, that will of course be as always Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. For some Saturday night Star Trek. And then just in a couple of weeks, when we get through with that, we're moving right on to Star Trek, the animated series. From there, we will do the original cast films. And then, of course, TNG. Then DS9 and Voy and Ent. Only real Trek here at Clobberin Times, folks. Real deal. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I don't exactly have a topic for Monday Night Mark C Comic Talk, as we call it. As you all know, our Monday night comic book show is from henceforth and forevermore named after our great dear departed pal, the great Mark C. And so on Monday Night Mark C, this week I had, a whole bunch of fun this past week. Well, both nights, really. Well, both times. Talking Invincible with Purple this morning, and then this past Monday night. And I should have remembered that to thank the great script doctor for helping me out. It was the first time we got a chance to stream together, and he joined me on Monday night, and we had I had a terrific time. I hope he did. Reviewing Invincible season 1. And Mitchum as in Steve, that will come soon. As a matter of fact, next Monday night would have been the birthday. This coming Monday night would have been the birthday of our dear departed Mark C. And so, you know what, Steve, if you want to, buddy, and if we have to move it back an hour to facilitate your schedule, if you want to, in honor of the great Mark C., if you want to come on, bro, that will give me the topic I need, and we will talk about his favorite artist, John Byrne. That just struck me because I was planning on I've been thinking about doing something for his birthday again anyway, then I kind of forgotten. And I think I was talking to Purple this morning, trying to figure out what kind of topic we could do. And of course, Purple, I don't know if you know much about John Byrne. If you wanted to join us, you could, of course, obviously. But I just thought about that, and I was planning on doing something on his birthday, and then I totally slipped my mind until this very second when Steve Mitchum mentioned that we were going to talk Byrne art in Mark's honor one day. Done. Well, there you go. We have a topic. It'll be a chill stream of sorts. It'll be a happy birthday to the great Mark C. And we'll talk about his favorite artists because Mark loved comics, as you all well know. And he loved John Byrne. It was his favorite artist. Now, he and I would quibble about John Byrne quite a bit. I love a lot of Byrne's art, and I had a lot of problems with some of the things he did, and I had some problems with some of his writing here and there. But, so I was a critic of Byrne in some ways. I've had a love-hate relationship with some of the things he's done, but on balance, I've loved a lot of his work. So, that's a capital idea. Thank you, Steve Mitchum. So there you go. Mark C's birthday, Monday night. We will honor our dear friend by talking about his favorite artist. Because why not? And we'll talk about maybe other types of comic book art. It's a comic night. So Steve's an artist, and we'll talk about some of his other some other comic book artists as well, but it'll be, it's always like, for example, this past Monday night when I had Script Doctor on. Yes, we did talk about Invincible, but that's comic book related because that is a show based on a comic book. Of course, the week before that, when I did my Batman the Brave and the Bold show, which I had a terrific time doing. Again, it's a cartoon, but it's based on a comic book. So Monday nights are all about comics, and so we'll talk about John Byrne, of course, because he's Mark's favorite artist. He was Mark's favorite artist, and then we'll and maybe a little other talk about some other artists too, because we had so many shows planned, did Mark C and myself, but we did manage to get a few of the things done that we wanted. Not many, because there were so many. We did a lot of shows together, but we didn't get nearly close to all the ones we wanted to do. We had ideas for years that we could do, but one of the ones we did do was our top 25 all-time favorite comic book artists. Because again, I'm not an artist. Steve here is an artist, for example. Mark was an artist. I'm not. I can't draw flies, but I do love comic book art. And so it was something that Mark and I talked about quite a bit. And I love comics, especially Silver and Bronze Age. That's my favorite in particular. And I love looking at a comic and guessing who drew that, who inked that, or whatever. That's always kind of a fun thing for me. Oh, cool. D. Oberg. Nice. So we'll do that. And, we'll do that in honor of the great Mark C. So good idea, Steve. That'll work. I will get that handled soon. D. Bud Martin. What's up, Bud? Welcome, my new friend. It is great to see you. We appreciate you. So that'll be Monday night Mark C Comics Talk. Happy birthday, Mark. It'll be a happy birthday, Mark C. Even though we'll be sad because he's not with us, we'll talk about his favorite artist. My sometime nemesis, John Byrne. So there we go. See, it's always fun to get a topic. But also, as Purple and I talked about, soon we're going to, a few weeks back, Purple and I talked about comic book villains. And one of the things that we realized, I guess, I don't know, I'm sure we do it again. One of the things we realized was that we barely scratched the surface, although we talked about the biggies and even a couple of obscure ones. There's so much more to talk about. We could do a lot of shows on that, and we will. I hope we will. And we talked about some other ideas to do. Oh, again, also Purple and I want to do a show about Judge Dredd, because I love Judge Dredd and I haven't done a spotlight on him. We're going to do some spotlights on certain comic book characters as well on the comic show eventually, and that was one we were talking about. So that's soon. But Purple, I think because I'd forgotten this was Mark's birthday, I thought maybe I would do something for that. So if you think if it's okay with you that we move those other ones back, maybe do Dredd and then do villains, or vice versa. Ironcaster says, I've never really paid attention to the creative teams. For me, it wasn't until the past couple of years that I've had to pay attention to all that, thanks to the current day creative teams. And I'll tell you, because I don't look at current day comics, I don't know much about any of the new guys. Thank you indeed, Jace540. Appreciate that. But I don't know many of the new people, but I do. It is something that's always meant a lot to me. Creative teams, the artists and the writers and all that kind of stuff. Thank you so much, Purple. I love you. Appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you, Steve Mitchum, again for that. Well, we talk a lot about current comics. A few weeks back, I did a show on a Monday night on my Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk, where I called it Recommended Reading, and I recommended some great old comics. Oh, and again, Purple on her show recently did one where she also did something similar, but she did it with a nice twist on it. It was about, recommending and talking about comics that weren't mainstream that a lot of people may or may not know about, which is a great kind of topic to do, and a rich topic, because there's so much you can do. Because there's so much because comic books have such a great and rich history. Yes, it's a barren wasteland now for the most part, but especially in terms of other than some of the people like the Comics Geek people and doing great stuff that they're doing, but in the big companies, it's a wasteland. But the history of comics is so much stuff. I don't care how long you've been reading comics. There's all kind of stuff that probably got by you at some point, that you heard about it, you heard it was good. Everyone was raved about it, but for whatever reason, you didn't get into it. You didn't read it. And you always meant to read that one, but you didn't. I don't know about you. I've got those, I'm sure. There are things like that. There are other ones that I wasn't all that interested in. But I look back and go, I didn't really give that one much of a look before. Maybe I need to go back and look at that one. So I'm sure we all have that. I still, Elogabilis, I still don't understand the Bronze Age, Gold Age, several Golden Age eras are the first Superman comics considered bronze. No, basically, here's how it worked. And it's funny you mentioned that, Elogabilis. There's an interesting chap on who's big as a big YouTuber, one of the biggest YouTubers, very popular one. And on Twitter about last week sometime, he mentioned he just in an off comment, he mentioned the Bronze Age, Dark Age, Copper Age and all that kind of stuff. And I just wrote something on there with the different eras. And if like 10 zillion people to this day, a week later, people are still liking the thing. I'm like, that's weird. Nobody ever likes the stuff I tweet that much. His name, it's a Gundam. He's a cool dude. But anyway, I laid out the ages of comics, and here's basically the time frames for the ages of comics. Why not? We got nothing else going on. We don't have a topic tonight anyway. Golden Age would start in 1933 when the very first comic book was made. Famous Funnies. Famous Funny. I don't even know if it had a number 1 on it or not, and that was just a comic book that compiled a bunch of comic strips. It wasn't, So you gotta start where the first actual comic book starts. 30, I believe it was 33. Now again, look, with my memory, hey, I've never trusted my memory. So if I get a year wrong here and there, hey, we don't. And it looks like Phantom Outsider's not here to correct me with the years because he's good about that. So some say it starts with Superman in 1938, but you got to start with Famous Funnies. Yeah. And then that's the gold. So that would be the Golden Age. There was a great article in one of my favorite mags that's been out forever, Roy Thomas's Alter Ego, that would talk about that era sometimes. It says we didn't know it was the Golden Age because no one knows what age they're in when they're in it. And then your Silver Age picks up in 54, 55, whatever it was, 55, with Julius Schwartz revamped the couple of the DC heroes, with the Barry Allen Flash, the Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Was it in Showcase, whatever it was, and in other words, when they started with Earth 1, yes, they should have called it Earth 2 because the Golden Age should have been Earth 1, but you know how that goes. But basically, yeah, well, Thoth, I'm starting it with the first comic book. But if you want to start at 1938, that's cool. I don't have an argument one way or the other there. I won't argue with you there, dude. I've started with because Famous Funnies was the first comic, and there were some comics before that. Eric K, what's up, buddy? Great to see you. The great Eric K is here. The debut of Superman, if you want to call that the beginning of the Golden Age, but there were comic books before that. Nevertheless, that's a quibble. That's fine. But I definitely start with 50 or 54, 55, whatever that was, when Barry Allen and Hal Jordan pop up. And that's when the Silver Age starts. And there's been some argument on this. And so whichever side of it you take, this is the side I go for. The Silver Age ended when Jack Kirby quit Marvel and went to DC in 1970. Many have said that. Some people have quibbled. I don't quibble with it. I think that works for me. So I'm going to say the Bronze Age starts in 1970. And I'm going to say that the Bronze Age pretty much ends at the end of 1985, 1986. With Crisis on Infinite Earths, with the hated by me, not others, John Byrne garbage Superman reboot. Of course, that was mid-1986 already. I'm just going to say that I'm going to just say that the Crisis on Infinite Earths or thereabouts ends the Bronze Age, and after that, people like to use the term Copper Age up until about 2000 or so. And again, I don't really have a big, strong opinion one way or the other when it comes to the copper. I don't give a crap. After bronze, I don't really care. So you can call anything after bronze whatever you want to call it, copper, and you can put it in any you want to have no interest. Because after 2000, I would call that the Dark Age, and then after the Screw 52 ushered in the Garb Age. For me. And Ironcaster says, I thought the death of Aqua Baby ended the Silver Age, and the Gwen Stacy ended the Bronze. No, I'm calling it when Kirby moved from Marvel to DC. And that was the beginning of the Bronze Age. Let's see here. Like I said, people quibble because there are no laws in motion. Lord Thus, Silver Age began with the first successful superhero since the Golden Age DC. Yeah, Showcase 4. I absolutely agree with you on that one, dude. 56? Okay. I thought it was 55. All right, it's 56 then. That's fine. You're always going to get somebody correcting your years around here. And I would disagree with you, J-Man. Again, there's no law that I can use to enforce it, but it starts in 70 when Kirby left Marvel. And that was before Death of Gwen Stacy. And the Roy using drugs issue, I forget the issue number, but that's Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Roy Harper. Nah, that's, the seminal event in comics history is Jack Kirby leaving Marvel to go to DC. There's no more important event of the time. That's 1970. You can use that Green Lantern, Green Arrow event if you want, Lord Thoth. I don't think it's more important than Kirby. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, D. Oberg, I'm with you, bud. I hear you, Elagabalus. People, like I said, nobody agrees on these things, so I can't speak for you. So I speak for no one but myself. But for me, those are the ages. And again, thanks for the correction on the year there, Thoth. For me, like I said, the Gwen Stacy thing, it's huge. The O'Neil Adams Green Lantern Hard Traveling Heroes, it's big. It's big. But I go with the Kirby thing. But like I say, I just, the year, whichever one of those two you want, it's the same year. So, again, it's not, like I say, it's not that important. But I will say that I'm a Bronze Age baby. It's funny because I was born in the Silver Age, but I was a kid. I was pretty young, and I look, and this is the way I look at it. The art really started to just explode, but thanks to Kirby really coming into his own in the Silver Age, and Ditko doing some of his greatest work in the Silver Age, and Neil Adams starting to develop in the Silver Age, and so on and so forth. The Silver Age is that Renaissance, and is what really gave us. Is really what gave us, the prosperity that the comic book industry had for decades to come. But look, I'm a Bronze Age baby now. There might have been some better classics in the 60s, but I don't know. The Bronze Age had some of the greatest stories and everything. And, if you take, for example, I loved the Green Lantern, Green Arrow run by O'Neil and Adams, as Thoth does, as you do, Thoth. Those stories, though, I got to tell you, I love them for the art. If you go back and read some of those stories now, Death of Aqua Baby and Gwen Stacy, yep, Aqua Baby. J-Man, born in 77, man, dude, wow. I literally bought comics before you were born. But be glad that you're a young man. It's still fun being old, Russell. You're cool. Born in the Star Wars year, buddy. That's nice. Steve. But I just love that time of, riding the bicycle to the corner 7-Eleven, as I always say, and grabbing comics off the spinner rack, buying a Slurpee with a superhero cup, and a Hostess fruit pie, because we all know Hostess fruit pies or Twinkies or Hostess cupcakes or ding dongies can stop Galactus. Cynical Lindsay, welcome. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. Wow, look at all the youngsters here. 82 birthday for Cynical Lindsay. Well, you know what, Cynical? I love that year. Some of the best times. I was running a comic shop. Go ahead, Eric. And I went to see Wrath of Khan in the theater more than 10 times. Yeah, so Yeah, D-Bud, man, how about those 7-Eleven days, buddy? Now, let's see. Are you saying Clobby is alley-oop or Captain Caveman? I think I'm Captain Caveman, probably. Sorry. You don't know. None of you did anything to deserve that. $19.92 plus the Dark Age of comics. You didn't think it was copper? There was some. I've made a lot of friends over the years, and even here, like when I moved to YouTube, of people who, again, it's all in your life experience and what age you were at the young formative ages. And I've made friends with a lot of people who have. Jace, I'll probably be on for a little while. I usually do a couple hours on Wednesday nights, Jace. And you run into a lot of people who had different experiences, different formative experiences with their comics. And so in the 90s, I know a lot of people loved a lot of those comics from the 90s. And I'm talking mainstream. In the 90s, I was really kind of done with mainstream comics. Really, in the late 80s and 90s, I wanted other things from comics. And, DC had pissed me off too much. Marvel had already chased me away before that. So, in the early 90s, I loved Valiant for a while there when they brought back Magnus Robot Fighter and Solar, Man of the Atom. They didn't call him Dr. Solar, but he was Solar. And Unity, that series, when they had Exo Man of War, Harbinger, which was great. Archer and Armstrong, Eternal Warrior. For a few of the years there, those Valiant books of the early 90s were fantastic. They had a great run with Valiant. Alan Moore had gotten a bit annoyed. He kind of left, and he did some not so good stuff for Image. But he did a great comic called 1963 that he didn't finish. Yep. And J-Man loved Magnus and Solar. And one day I'm going to do a show all about those Valiant comics, because that was a great run. I need to go back and reread them. I still have all my old Valiant books for those. For a few years there, those Valiant books were solid, 2-3 years, and they had a huge run in the comic shops. They did very well. Alan Moore's Supreme in the mid and into the late 90s was fantastic, because I was very disenchanted with what was going on with Superman. After Byrne revamped him, I didn't like any of the crap that he did or after him. And Alan Moore returned Superman to his former glory, except he just named it was called Supreme, based on a crappy Superman knockoff that Rob Liefeld had created. It was really lousy. Byrne took him, and Moore Supreme was fantastic. Well, you know what, D. Oberg, 1963 annual was not done. You said because of Jim Lee. Jim Lee always blames Alan Moore. And I talked to Jim Valentino at a con. He blamed Alan Moore. Rick Veitch blamed Alan Moore. And Alan Moore doesn't blame anybody because he doesn't care. But I'd be willing to believe it's all of them. And that is one of many tragedies of comics. Lindsay says, when it comes to Image, she's a Walking Dead fan. I read the Walking Dead comic for many years. Way back I did. Lindsay, you're an EC fan. Well, there you go. Great stuff. Our good buddy Mark C. loved EC comics as well. So there you go. Lord Thought, that's a good one, dude. I love. Is there an omnibus on that? I love Dreadstar by Jim Starlin. Of course, Jim Starlin was, he was a master anyway. And Jim Starlin's Dreadstar Thought, I did not know you were a Dreadstar fan. That was a great run. I loved it. I bought Dreadstar for years throughout the 80s and into the 90s, I think, for a little while. So, or however long he did it. I think he left the book at some point. You got to start don't you start like with the Price and the Metamorphosis Odyssey and all that stuff? But yes, Dreadstar, Starlin had a tendency to repeat himself a lot and use a lot of the same themes in a lot of his stuff. I mean, he did a series called Gilgamesh 2 for DC that was very similar to his Dreadstar in some ways. So yeah, let's see. I'm sorry. Was it Tales from the Crypt an EC title? Not only an EC title, it was a TV show, right? So yeah. I mean, had a lot of yeah. Yeah, there you go. I loved Rom. Pat S, I loved Rom, dude. You get made fun of for loving Rom in some parts, but I loved it. Thank you, J-Man. I appreciate that, my brother. Yeah, I love DC, man. EC was fantastic. I bought the first issue of ROM off the shelf in '79, I believe it was, and fell in love with it and just read it cover to cover. And then when I get to that, I believe it was on the last page, or whether it was on the outside last page or the inside, I can't remember. But they had the ad for the toy. And boy, did I want that toy. Holy shite. And I was getting to that age where I wasn't buying toys as much, but I wanted the ROM toy, dude. Well, in the 80s, by the way, you're talking about EC. EC did a lot of reprint stuff in the 80s. But our dear departed, the great Mark C. loved EC comic. Of course, he loved Wallace Wood. Wally Wood's one of the masters. Monday night when we do our Mark C. tribute show, we'll talk about Byrne, but we'll also run down the list of all of his favorite artists and stuff like that. I'll find them. So, and Wallace Wood was one of his favorite and one of mine. Marvel lost the rights. Parker Brothers owns the rights to ROM. Now IDW does it. But Marvel lost the rights, so they can't do it anymore. Dioberg, let's see here. I started buying comics after the local shopping mall needed someone to dress up as Spider-Man, and that someone was me. Wow. I do not recall why that. I guess you mean why that was. I guess some promo to bring in people, and that's when you started buying comics. Cool. Thoth, I was actually reading Kirby's run on the Demon a few days ago. Missed it. Oh man. Gone, the form of man, rise the demon Etrigan. I love that. Oh, Kirby's Demon was fantastic. Yeah. That's great stuff. Well, it's Kirby, we revere Kirby here, folks. He's the king. Hail to the king, baby. So, yeah, hang on. Let's see. I wonder if let me see something here. I invited Flash. I don't know if he can make it or not, but I'm gonna try to get Flash to pop in if he can for a second here. Where are you, Flash? Where are you, Flash? Where are you, Flash? Where are you, Flash? I thought I had this damn dude. Where'd you go, man? There you go. I haven't hung out with Flash in a while. So if maybe he'll make it. We'll see if he pops in. D-Bud Martin, did you and Mark C discuss Wood's canon strips? I read the compilation book recently. Great stuff. We did not discuss that in depth or anything. He may have mentioned it when we did our show of our favorite comic artists. Both my list and his did have the great Wally Wood on there. And well, what a tragedy that is! A tragedy that was. That he died the way he did. But yeah. So I don't think we. I know of Canon, of course. I think I haven't. At one point I think I had one. I think I had one. Now Eric K is going to make fun of me, but when it comes to comics, because I was in the business so long, whether I was running a shop for someone else or running my own, and now I'm old, I have this memory that plays tricks on me sometimes. Like I will look at comics online, or I'll go somewhere, and I'll see a comic book, and I'll go, oh, I had that, and then I go, or did I have it, or did I just sell it, or did I buy that and have it at home? It all runs together sometimes. I'll go, now, because there's a great website. I don't know if you're all familiar with it. Mike's Amazing World or something like that. Not this Mike, a different Mike. I forgot. I sometimes forget the name of it. Where you can go on there. There's a feature on it where you can enter your birthday, a year, to the month and everything, and find out which comic books came out that month of your birth and that week you were born. Just for the hell of it. I mean, you can do all that. And sometimes I'll do that, and I'll look at my year and other people's years or whatever. And sometimes just for the fun of it, I'll go just to see what comics came out certain weeks to jog my memory. There you go. Thank you, D. Bud Martin, Mike. Mike's Amazing World of Comics. It's a great site. And I'll pull up the comics that came out. In fact, one night I was bored. I just kept pulling up all these random, years or months during different years, like in the 70s or 80s. And I would look what came out a certain month, and I would go, oh, I bought that one. Then I'll go, wait a minute, maybe I just sold it. I don't know if I bought that one or not. Oh, I remember. But every one of them is right in my mind. It's in my memory, and I have a garbage memory for the most part. But every one of them, I remember them all by looking at them. But it doesn't mean I bought them all, because I was pretty picky. I didn't buy every title. Like anyone else, very few people buy every title. So I would, and because I'm fuzzy on it, I would see a comic and go, oh, I bought that. Or did I buy it, or did I just handle it? Did I just sell it? Did I just put it in somebody's folder? Did I just ring somebody up for it? I used Mike's time machine to figure out when I started buying comics. Cool. Yeah, you can use, there's so much fun stuff on that site. I love it. Pat S says, when you ran someone else's shop, was that your only job? Could you support yourself on that? Well, when the first time I did that was in the early, like 81 and 81 and through like 84 or whatever. And I was a teenager living at home, and I was, in my late teens, and then into my early 20s. And then later when I owned my own, of course, that was different than later. Pat S., did you ever go to BSI Comics in Metairie? Because I worked there for Carl quite a bit. Did you know Carl Tupper, the great Carl Tupper? So, you can never catch a break from Eric K. By the way, I do believe Eric K. Your buddy Mr. Bailey did pop in the other day, and he, yeah. Pat, when did you go to BSI, man? Because chances are we might have met, buddy. I was talking to Loki's good buddy and a good buddy, Valiant Renegade. Some of you know him. Turns out we met it. He's a bit younger than me, but it turns out I probably rang his comics up at some point at BSI. Yeah. But I was such a ridiculous geek when somebody would bring their comics to the counter. I didn't say, you ready to ring up? I always say, you ready to beam up? It was never funny, but I said it anyway. In fact, it became annoying to people, which is why I kept saying it. '90s? Oh yeah, we met, buddy. We met, no question about it, because I was there all the time, and I was working with Carl. No, it's not a euphemism, Steve Mitchum. It is a probable statistic. It is a probability of Captain. Snortapoopa says, I always loved the movie The Blue Max, 1966. I don't think I know of it. I don't think I've seen it. And bought a few copies of the Enemy Ace comic books around that time and some early Star Trek comics. But that's about my only experience with comics. I love Enemy Ace, by the way. Let's see. All the graffiti comics on the inside of the pyramids, that was Clobby's handwork. Well, see, the only thing that shoots a hole in your theory, Eric, case I'm a garbage art. I can't draw a stick figure, dude. I can't draw flies, so I can't take the credit. I was there. I was probably there watching them do it because I'm that old. But you know, by the way, Eric K, I'm probably not that much older than you, dude. I bet Eric K is pretty old and he's just razzing me. I bet Eric's really old. Who bets Eric is old here? I bet he is. So yeah, comics. Yeah, what are you gonna do? So anyway, but yeah, when I look at when I look at old comics now, because of my stupid memory, I can't remember if some I can if I really sticks out. Oh yeah, I collected that series, but sometimes I'll see them and I go, I remember that. It sticks out in my head, but I don't know if I bought it or just sold it to somebody. But does it really matter? No, it doesn't. I do know that back issues are certainly at a premium these days. Bruce Lombardo, welcome. And when we were talking earlier about how, in my opinion, how bad new comics are, yeah, my favorite new things coming out right now, and again, Bruce Lombardo always throws this one at me. No, I haven't read it yet, by the way, but I'm going to keep remembering when I see him, and I'm going to get Ragnarok one of these days, dude. I'm going to get the trades. So, but by the way, that is a new comic coming out that has been coming out for a couple of years by Walt Simonson. So, on recommendation of Bruce Lombardo, if you haven't picked up the IDW Walt Simonson IDW Ragnarok series, he highly endorses it. So every time I see him, I remember that. My favorite things coming out right now, with regards to comics, are not comics. I love. Do any of you get any of the Tomorrow's books or publications? I've always been a big fan of fanzines. I'm gonna do a show about it in the not too distant future, but it won't be a Sunny AD. It's gonna happen, man. When I can afford it, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna binge and get it. Why did you let me buy X-Men Legacy Virus storyline? Hey, I didn't let you buy that one. I probably tried to talk you out of it. That Gizmotic Institute. I knew Steve would get that one. He worked at Gizmotic Institute, just another face in red jumpsuit. See, he did a good job cleaning up the place, but his bosses didn't like him, so they shot him into space. But I love Tomorrow's publishing. I've been buying from John Morrow since he first started printing the Jack Kirby Collector. Oh, J-Man just reminded me of something. Yes, J-Man Iconicon is going to be my great retro blastings, but I was just talking to them today about it. It's going to be, I think, in July. It's going to be a virtual con on YouTube. I don't know if it's just YouTube or if they do some other ways, but yes, I'm going to, as time goes on, we're going to come up with some. We're going to start releasing more and more information, J-Man. But I'm glad you mentioned that. Iconicon, folks, is going to be great. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be participating. My wonderful Retro Blasting friends, and you guys, if you have not subscribed to Retro Blasting, please go find their channel. There we go. Iconicon. Listen, I'm gonna put a link to it. This is right now. This is the Facebook group of the Facebook event. If you want to learn more about it, it's a virtual con. For those who are not familiar with Retro Blasting, they are wonderful people, great friends of mine. I was talking with them today about it. You can go learn about that. It's going to be, I believe, in let's see here, July 7th through July 11th. And there could be a lot. It's going to be, yes, it'll be live streams and interviews and podcasts, various things, YouTube and beyond. It says a virtual convention, and I am proud to be a part of that. We got all kind of ideas, all kind of things set up. And J-Man, thanks for reminding me of that, bud. I appreciate you, brother. Let's see here. I'll get back to tomorrow's in a second. Louise and Walter Simonson are supposedly going to do more X-Men. Wow. Found this out the day that I learned the Hellfire Gala was being touted as something I should give a shit about. Yeah, definitely not something you should give a shit about. Elagabolis, if I hope I didn't miss any of your other questions. If I did, you can throw them back up there. I apologize. Let's see it. Elagabolis. I hate myself when I try to pronounce that. I'm throwing questions, hoping some stick. Clobberin times. What are your 3 favorite arc stories from comics? I know there are many and can span many issues, but I'm curious. Wow, that's a good question. Let me think on that one a second. Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Chris Persia. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, there's the. I hope that links works for Iconicon, everyone. I don't know if I have a 3 in order yet. There's so many. You like a bullet, but when I did my recommending comics show the other day, I named a couple of them. As far as arc stories are concerned, man, I tell you what, that is a good question. I'm gonna have to think on that, but I will definitely think of some here. Boom. D. Bud Martin, that's a good one, dude. And then, of course, Kirby actually did a Prisoner comic that never got produced, as you well know. I'm sure you won't know that. Man. I like the question, but I'm trying. Oh, man. Give me a little time to think about that. I love the Great Darkness saga from the Legion of Superheroes. A Coming of Galactus. If you call that an arc, it's a 3-parter, but I don't know if you call that an arc or anything. The Michael Korvac saga from the Avengers is a classic. Man. I like getting stumped. Frank Miller's Born Again is brilliant. That's my favorite of his Daredevil stories. And that was when he returned to the book after being gone for a long time. And great art by Dave Mazzucchelli. That's just superb. Naturally, a lot of the stuff Jim Starlin did with his Captain Marvel stuff. I was thinking, like I say, I do love the Kree Skrull War, I kind of like the Korvac saga a little bit better, but I do love that one, T. Bud Martin, for sure. It's a great one. Pat S. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford to get that prisoner action figure yet, but I'm fighting it, man. I'm fighting it. One art can be. I always loved the Sand Superman saga with Denny O'Neil and Kurt Swan, and of course the Swanderson art team. I love the Englehart Rogers definitive Detective Comics, definitive Batman run on Detective Comics. It was too short, but it was great. And of course, when I think Arc, I always think a story, sort of a saga within an ongoing series is what I kind of think of when I think of as an arc. So I kind of exclude your run of the mill mini series or something, or maxi series or something like that. Hail Dark Shadow Logan. J-Man asks, how was Evolutionary War? I remember that. It's been so long. I don't think I read much of it. I really got burned out on events. But you say you have the hardcover collection. Never read it though. I've heard some people say they liked it. I can't remember having much of an opinion on it because I don't know if I bought all of it. At that time, I believe I was kind of checked out of most mainstream comics. But I tell you what, since you have that hardcover, definitely crack the thing open, take a look at it. I was getting kind of aggravated with event crossover events at the time. JT Kirk, welcome, sir. Welcome. Good to see you, buddy. D. Oberg, yes, Dark Phoenix Saga. How the hell did I draw a blank on that one? I actually kind of like the Earth War, the Legion of Superheroes, of course. That was a pretty good one. Again, I'm staying away from your obvious answer of certain Elseworlds or certain miniseries. I'm just staying within ongoing series with arcs because I'm taking in the How about Defenders Avengers War? Yeah, I love the Defenders. Wow. You know what I used to love? You can't necessarily, you can sort of call them arcs in a sense. For many years throughout the Silver and then into the Bronze Age, I always really look forward to the JLA JSA team up every year, the annual JLA JSA team up. Manos, the Hands of Fate. Talking Manos, the Hands of Fate there. But D.O. Berg, I'm glad you pick up I'm glad I'm not the only one that loves Tomorrows, man. They bankrupt me. They have so many. I have every issue of the Jack Kirby Collector, including when John Morrow first started putting that in the mid '90s, and I used to write to him, and he's a cool dude. And I used to order that from him. I have all the black and white ones because it was black and white at first. It was it was very cheaply done on cheap paper, but I love them. I have those. And then eventually it went to a slicker. It went to a slicker format, and eventually for a while there it was treasury sized, which I loved. And they're only up to like. It's funny. The newest issue coming out is one of the double size, which is like $26. I've already ordered. It's coming out next month, or earlier this month, I think. And it's a special one called The Older Gods, and it's in a book format, but it's still the Jack Kirby Collector number 75. And I'll never miss it. I get every issue of that. But anyway, I love Alter Ego. I pick it up spotty when there's something in there I want to read, but I never miss back issue. I have every issue of Back Issue magazine, and that's my favorite one because it's Bronze Age. Never miss it. They got some great ones coming up. And of course, a lot of their books are amazing too. They do a lot of, sometimes I just buy one. It's one I really got to have. I'll buy when it first comes out, but a lot of times I'll wait for them to go down. But T. Morrow's, and when you buy it, you get a free digital of it, so you can read it before you can get it if you want. But I'm cynical Lindsay. Now the mention of Manos, Manos is going to have my husband MST3K quoting up a storm. Yes, Manos, the hands of fate. You know, I was at for the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. I was at Dragon Con, and they were having the big cosplay dance for Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. And there was this guy who was cosplaying Vincent van Gogh from the episode, you know, Vincent and the Doctor. There's one problem. He looked like Torgo. When I first saw him, I didn't think Vincent. And I remember the episode and everything. I didn't think Vincent. I thought Torgo. Yes, that thing. And I ran into the guy and I made I just called him Torgo, kidding around with him because I figured it was. I forgot I was at a Doctor Who event. I don't know. I just, for some reason, like a dumbass, I didn't make the connection that he was Vincent because he looked more like Torgo. And he said, "You're the third or fourth person that's calling me that thing. What is Torgo?" And I said, "Oh, you're Vincent?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh," because I didn't expect anybody to be cosplaying that. I mean, they had women. They had one guy that was cosplaying the Vashta Narada, was really badass, and they had a couple of women cosplaying the Sisterhood of Karn. That was way before the Night of the Doctor short thing. I'd seen that. This was before that aired, but it was a couple months before the 50th anniversary, and so they were the Sisterhood of Karn based on the Brain of Morbius episode. But this guy, he didn't know what Torgo was, and no one told him until I did. I explained it to him, that he looked like Torgo from Manos to Hands of Fate. Poor dude, nice guy. I hope maybe he went and watched it. That's a tragic tale about that actor that played Torgo. I mean, should I say actor? I also went to the Riff Tracks live of Manos to Hands of Fate. That was fun too. Apollinaise Benyon, welcome. Great to see you, my dear. Oh, Jesus Christ. Torgo. So, yeah, I don't know how I got off of that because they're talking about Torgo. That's the first time Torgo and Manos the Hands of Fate have been mentioned in my chat. That's a lot of fun. Manos the Hands of Fate. That was it. In the MST3K version, was it Joel or someone said, "Why does every frame of this film look like someone's last photograph?" If I'm not saying there aren't worse movies than Manos to Hands of Fate. But there ain't many. There ain't many. Just say it. Oh crap! Oh my God! Makes me want to not go watch Manos to Hands. Well, I can watch Manos to Hands of Fate. Do you know that the MST3K disc of that back when the DVD came out had a special feature where you could watch Manos without the MST3K guys? And I'm like, how could you possibly sit through that movie without them riffing it? Pat S says, the Riff Tracks guys are jerks now, Clobberin. Yeah, Mike Nelson bent the knee, and Bill Corbett is an insane douche. Sad. I used to like Corbett. Corbett's a nut, and he's a hateful nut. He is a whack job. Bill Corbett's a piece of never mind. That's true, cynical Lindsay. Mike did play Torgo. He played Torgo just like it. No, so. Anyway, good times. But yes, Riff Tracks really disappointed me about a year or so ago when they bent the knee. The other ones I don't care as much, although Bill's a nut. But Mike Nelson bending the knee, that was very disappointing. Yes, Pat S. I agree. Bill is a nut, man. Bill's crazy. Now Kevin's nice. I don't think Kevin gets involved in any of that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe you see something I don't. But Kevin usually seems to kind of stay out of that crap. I don't know. Now, D. Bud Martin's talking my language there. The only Torgo he knows is from FF 91 through 93. Well, that's the only Torgo you should really need to know, of course. Some great Kirby art when I hear that name. Right on, brother. Yeah. So, but yes, on tomorrow's, man, they have so many great publications. Again, I love comics fanzines. I still have all my old comics journal, my old Amazing Heroes. I hated Wizard. I thought Wizard was a crappy bag. Wizard sucked. I'm sorry. I bought it sometimes to see what was going on, but Wizard was ugh, God. It was run by jackasses too, by the way, but that's another story. Wizard was poo-poo. I bought it sometimes but comics scene, the Starline put out was kind of okay. But Comics Journal, man. Apollo's Minion says, bored and working on a diamond dot a painting for Nerdrotic Son. Ah, cool. I'm sure you'll like that. I love the Nerdrotics. Hail Gary and the Nerdrotics. The great Ace Cast on you, bro. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I loved Comic Scene. Actually, it had a short run in the 80s, and then it came back later. Because I love Starlog. That's another mag I loved. But I love the Comics Journal. And I don't know if anyone here bought Comics Journal. Let's see. D. Bud Martin says, one of my customers wrote several reviews for Amazing Heroes. Cool. I loved Amazing Heroes. But I still have I think I bought every issue for 100 some odd issues on or whatever until I finally stopped. But I still have 100 something issues of it. And I still have tons and tons of the Comics Journal. I still have all of my Comic Book Marketplace. I got tons of those. Remember Comic Book Marketplace, D-Bud? Did you read? That was a good mag. And then Comic Book Artist was great. Got all those. And like I said, I've never missed Back Issue Magazine. And I got a lot of Alter Ego, but I haven't been buying every single one of those when they have something I really want to read, because that's Roy Thomas. He does a great job with that mag. I love the mag. And I've missed some here and there, but I still love that mag. Comics Journal, Doug, that is one of the biggest, it's weird, these strange things that happen to you as a comics fan that are so formative for you. Let's see, how I got to work at a comic shop was, there was this guy running this ad, and any of you had those? Oh, J-Man, you go. Take care, man. I always appreciate you being here, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Well, a cousin calls me up. He said, we had this thing called The Shopper. It was one of those free giveaway ad newspaper thingies, little bitty giveaway thingies. And I called the number because it said comics. He knew I love comics, and I called it. And that's how I met a guy that he was working as a go-between between a distributor, really. I think it was Glenwood Distributors at the time. And they're not around anymore. But that's how I got into the business. And I started working. He and I helped him start the first comic shop. But way before that, though, I found that he had a comic book subscription service, Glenwood Distributors. I'd had a couple subscriptions from Marvel that were crap. They come in those Marvel subscriptions and DC subscriptions. They always say they're all mailed flat. Well, they may be mailed flat, dude, but they don't arrive flat. So, this subscription service, and I'm seeing all this order form, and obviously it's not like Diamond, like a Diamond Previews is today, or it was, or whatever. It's not like a phone book. It's just, like a few things, but obviously all the Marvel and DC titles and all this stuff. And I saw different things like Cerebus the Aardvark. What is that? I bought it though. Or I went and bought it. He was selling some stuff out of his front porch later. So comics, he would have people come show up, and because there were no comic shops. Anyway, I saw this order form, and I started ordering my comics from him, and I would go pick them up there because it was way across town. But it wasn't, I was driving at the time. That's how old I am. And this is 1980, 80-ish, 81-ish. Anyway, But I saw this thing called the Comics Journal. What is that? What is a Comics Journal? And you put two and two together, even when you're a kid. Wait a minute, this is not a comic book, but it's a magazine about comic books? And I knew about Amazing World of DC Comics. I used to try to order it, never could get it because you couldn't get it at stores. I knew about Marvel's Foom was, Friends of Old Marvel, but I didn't really know what fanzines were. I was in bumfuck Baton Rouge, man, or Louisiana. We didn't know crap. Like D-Bud, you're from the big city, man. You guys had comic shops well before we knew what a comic shop was, man. Yeah, mailed flat, exactly, D-Bud. After they folded them in friggin' half. After the mailman got through wiping his ass with it was mailed friggin' flat. So I would a magazine about comics, not comics, but I gotta have it, so I ordered it. When I got my batch of comics, actually, before I started going there, I think I did have them shipping to my house for a couple times. But anyway, I got your Muslim uncle. Welcome, buddy. Great to see you, my friend. So I got my comics, and I got this thing called the Comics Journal. I think it was number 61 or 63. I forget the number. But it had a Gil Kane cover of John Carter of Mars on there, and I loved that comic at the time, of course. I think the comic is still going on at the time. But anyway, it had a Gil Kane cover. And this thing, it's magazine sized, of course, and it's very dense in terms of it's got a lot of very extraordinarily well-written articles and reviews. It was reviewing comics I'd never heard of. It had a real long-ass interview. It had long-form interviews. It's always great to see you, your Muslim uncle. I appreciate you, sir. And I was just fascinated. I was learning things about comics. I was learning things about comics I'd never heard of. I didn't know much about the alternate market, the independent market, or any of that stuff. When I got that issue, and I read it so much, I was reading in the letters column about an interview, and I'm going to talk about this maybe more next week, because we're going to be talking about John Byrne next week, an interview that was the aftermath of the John Byrne interview from Comics Journal number 57, where John Byrne had thrown out, it was a long interview. He'd insulted, let me just put it to you this way. John Byrne infuriated and insulted in that interview. He said some very derogatory things about gays. And this was the backlash. If John Byrne had said that stuff today, if he were working in the industry a lot, he'd be canceled, and then canceled again. The things he said in that interview. I don't know if you've ever read the Comics Journal number 57, the interview with John Byrne. So I was able to go back, and this guy had the back issue. I bought that comic. I was started buying some back issues of Comics Journal. And yes, I love comics, but I was fascinated. That was where I started falling in love with reading about comics history and reading about the minutiae of the comics industry. Comics Journal was it. I loved it. Gary Groth was an elitist, but I loved that mag. And it was fantastic. And that, I was like the kerfluffle going on over John Byrne's, the crap he said in that interview. Holy shit. I can't say it here. I'm not even going to say here what he said. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. I'll go back a little bit on some of these comments here. Dark Shadow Logan. One of my favorite standalone stories was Uncanny X-Men Giant Size Annual number 11 versus the Horde. I wasn't buying the series at that time, but I know what you're talking about. They're getting a possible future Storm Wolverine relationship. Good Wolverine story. I have not read that one. There you go. Alter Ego, Diobert says Alter Ego 172, due November 21. Alfredo Alcala. Good. I love Alfredo's work. He did a lot of great inking on Buscema and Savage Sword of Conan. He was a great artist. Pat S. says, can I see your wizard? I want to know how much I can sell my comics for you. Yeah, I hate it. Wizards started all that stupid crap with having their dumb price guide in the back. I don't know. I hated Wizard. I say I hated it. I bought it sometimes. I just thought it was Wizard was shallow. Amazing Heroes was much more well done, well written, and just a far more intelligent, comics reporting. And of course, even though it was mostly mainstream stuff, and therefore, and it was Fantagraphics, but a lot of the Fantagraphics people, Comics Journal was an elitist. They hated everybody, and yet that snobby elitist crap. Oh my God, there were so many great issues of the Comics Journal. It was more fun to read the comics at the time for me because I like that kind of crazy stuff. And the interviews, long form interviews, are amazing. The first comic shop I saw in my era was 1973, says D. Bud Martin. Wow, dude. We didn't know what a comic shop was. They closed a year later. And see, that just shows you, the one I opened up was 1981, too. And so we got one almost a decade after you did. But none of us, we had flea markets where guys sold comics, but not new comics at a comic shop. They closed a year later, and they had to do a subscription until the new one opened in 1975. Wow. Which I wound up to become a part owner of years later. Damn. My fellow comic shop owner brethren. You and Gary, brothers in comic shop owning. Go ahead and make fun of us now, Eric. Let's see here. Clobberin Times from, the great Pat asked, Clobberin Times, serious question. Do you remember in the early 80s, the Space Monsters icy cups? They were 16-ounce in white with a generic but cool Space Monsters on it. 24 cups in the collection. I remember all the superhero ones, but I can't say I remember that one. Those. Maybe I didn't go to the right, or that could have been a New Orleans thing, or it was. No, I'm not sure. I mean, not saying I didn't see him, but it's not ringing a bell. But Oh, hey, Stornapupus, you have a great night, my friend. We appreciate you being here, buddy. It is always a pleasure to have you here, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar and a polar bear. Wizard Magazine was publishing the speculator market. They were pushing the speculator market. Yeah, I was not a big Wizard guy. And that's right, I forgot. Also in the comic shop owner brethren, Dark Shadow Logan owned a comic shop in Illinois back in the early 90s. How come you don't pick on them, Eric? You just pick on me and Gary. You got to pick on these guys too, Where you at? Eric probably had to go run off and do something. Everybody else, there are like a million streams going on probably right now. But Eric picks on us. He only picks on me, Gary, and then he started picking on me. But we have two comic shops owners right here, Eric. What about a little equal time, brother? Oh shit. Nah, we love Eric, man. Eric's the man. And so, yeah, I love all those days. I love comic shop, just the days of the comic shop when I went. It was so much fun. There were so many great comics coming out then. Oh, does he? Okay, well, that's fair enough. As long as he's picking on you guys, too, we're okay. All right, I just want to be sure that we weren't the only, guys getting picked on here. Oh, yeah, JT Kirk said, did you get kicked out of 3 high schools? No, I got kicked out of 2 kindergartens. Or maybe 3. I didn't make it as far as Gary. I think kindergarten was about it for me, man. Oh, Shiite. Yeah, I guess a lot of people are streaming tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Pat. I can't. I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember really loving those Slurpee cups for the superheroes, man. And you know what the thing is? Obviously, I'm sure not every 7-Eleven got all of them, but every time you go online now and you look at these people who still have their old Slurpee cups from the 70s, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't know they did all these. I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. Because I'm sure the distribution wasn't great. Holy shit. D-Bud Martin says the first new comic he bought at that comic store in 1973 was Spider-Man 129. Dude. Oh, here we go with Eric. Dude, that's do you still have that one? My goodness, man. That's a landmark. Let's see. Eric K. Here you go. I knew he'd come after us. A nasty hobbit just ran through and told me that Dark Shadow Logan and D-Bud Martin owned a comic shop as well. What is going on? Are they multiplying like Vorpal buddies? Yes. It's Attack of the Killer Comic Shop Owners. Yeah, there you go, bud. You still have your Iron Man Slurpee cup? Nice. You know what? I'm so aggravated. I at a store at a comic shop in Dallas back in the 80s. I bought a couple. I think it was Dallas, maybe in Atlanta. I can't remember, but there was somebody was selling a bunch of the old Slurpee cups for a few bucks a piece, just for the shit of it. I bought one. I bought a couple, I think, just to have them. And I don't know whatever happened to them. I bought the Doc Savage one. Then a Marvel, because at the time Marvel at one point had the Doc Savage comic book license before DC got it and everything else. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And now I don't know where it is. I lost that one. Doc Savage. Boom. Doc Savage. Gotta love that. Man, speaking of that, I was talking the other night about the Doc Savage Doc Savage black and white mag. That was a great one. Let's see here. Let's see. Here we go. Last night, Nick Weiser asked me to list my top 3 comic shop owners. I listed you. Thanks, buddy. Gary and Terry from West Bank Comics. I knew Terry a little bit. Well, I've met him a few times. Comics who tried to give me free back rubs when my dad went next store to get cigarettes. Is he kidding? He was kidding, right? I mean, it's a joke or that. Wow, I can't. Dude. Was this like a friend kidding with you? Because I mean, I know I went to that shop. I met Terry, but I don't know him. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup or anything, but I know that's on the West Bank. I tried to give you. You're gonna have to give me some clarification on that one, bud. Probably you will never believe it, but I never saw a comic shop until 1993. Had to travel 32 miles to get to it. Wow, that's where you up there in the great Canada, the Great White North in Canada there. Because I know my buddy Lord Duff goes to a comic shop there. I mean, I don't know. He's from up there. I wonder when he started seeing comic shops. I just assumed we were the last one to get them. And that was 81, 82. One of the customers gave me that Slurpee cup. Oh, okay. Yeah, those still. I mean, there were so many of those cups around that you still see them. You can find pictures of them all over online. People kept them and stuff. And those are old plastic cups. Obviously, they can't stand up to a lot of pressure, and to a lot of abuse. So I don't know. Oh, okay. I was living in Australia since 85, out west of Sydney. It's funny you mentioned that because in the early 90s, when I was helping run BSI Comics for a friend of mine in Metairie, that's after I didn't have my shop anymore, a big, tall, thin Aussies chap walked in, and we started talking about comics. And he had just moved to New Orleans, taking a job there. And he just found the shop, and we became friends. We talked a lot, and I told him about some that time 1963 by Alan Moore had just come out, which I loved, and got him hooked on it. And he probably told this one before. He was asking me if I knew any geek fan clubs, and I brought him to the Blake 7 Doctor Who group that I knew of that was getting together, and brought him there and introduced him. He made a lot of new friends there. I still keep in contact with him on Facebook sometimes. I haven't seen him in decades, but he came back a few weeks later and said, "Hey, mate, thanks for showing me that. Thanks for showing me that the 0263. It was really cracker." And half of Sydney, the comics fan groups there. I know I suck at that accent. He said half of the groups there, all this friend stuff, now love it thanks to you. Because we weren't getting that comic for some reason. It was an Image comic. It had an Image print run, and back then print runs were big, but for some reason no one ordered it. I ordered the hell out of it. But So yeah, maybe there weren't a lot of availability of comic shops back then. Clobberin Times from your Muslim uncle says, was there a show from the 60s or 70s that had multiple Marvel character individual episodes that had Galactus in the show opening? I remember seeing it as a kid. Well, in the 60s, the Fantastic Four cartoon by DePatie Freeling, whatever it was, that 60s cartoon had Galactus on it. They were kind of, some of them were close to adaptations of the comics, and Galactus is in the opening credits on that one. Yeah. Could be the one you're talking about. You're probably thinking of that DePatie Freeling, or whatever that company was, Fantastic Four cartoon of the 60s. Oh, D. Martin agrees with. He says, sounds like the Hanna-Barbera, DePatie Freeling. Yeah, it's DePatie Freeling, but it was. Oh, DePatie Freeling was the other. Got the Hanna-Barbera FF. DePatie Freeling's the animation. Okay. I'm an idiot. Yeah, from 67. That's right. Well, that was my first exposure to the FF, that cartoon. I was a youngster. And, when you go back and watch those now, it's real. The animation. It's a little bit slightly above the Filmation animation, and definitely above the Marvel Superheroes cutout animation. Now, Paul Frees doing the voice of the Thing. I think Joanne Flug did the voice of the Invisible Woman. Oh, Invisible Girl at the time. Yes, sorry. There we go, Pat. Yes, I'm kidding you. You're thinking of Marty from Gretna Comics. Okay. Marty's a great guy who would never do anything like that. Clobberin Times. There was no West Bank Comics, just shops on the West Bank. Yeah, it wasn't West Bank. Well, I didn't live on the West Bank, but I did go to the... Yeah, I got it confused. I don't know why I kept saying DePatie Freeling. You're right, Steve Mitchum. That was Pink Panther. It was Hanna-Barbera that did the FF. I'm an idiot. NMC now. But yes, it wasn't called West Bank Comics. It was Gretna. It was Gretna Comics. Okay, well, there are a couple shops over there, right? Again, went and visited them a couple of times. Wasn't there in Terrytown there was one or something? So I knew... Dude, I can't remember the name of the guy at the shop that I knew over there, but I only went there a couple times, so I can't remember him. I can't remember half the shit I did over there. But I knew Carl and AG and DC and Steve. More Fun Comics, All American Comics, Crescent City Comics is still there. BSI's there, but they're on their like third owner. New Orleans. And I think, I know Media Underground sold that. A lot of shops changed hands. I think Crescent City Comics, though, with Les and those guys still there, and they have like 2 shops in New Orleans. So, Pat, which comic shop do you go to now, dude, if you go to any comic shop? We only have 2 here, and they're, they're all right. Yeah. See, again, you guys from the big city like UD, Bud, you guys get comics. You got like 20 comic shops, even, well, during the good days, I mean, probably. We're like, here, the most we've ever had is like 2 or 3 at a time. Probably. The FF cartoon, says D. Bud Martin, was what got me buying FF Comics. They were just reprinting FF22 when the cartoon adapting that issue was on. Yeah. But I don't know. Are you upset? Mark D with the C is obsessed with that stupid Thing Ring cartoon. Don't mention the Thing Ring, please. Thing Ring, do your thing. Fred and Barney meet the Thing. Thank you. Chris Prince says, Clubby, do you have any idea why the 1978 Fantastic Four cartoon retconned Johnny Storm with Herbie the Robot? Well, I know the comic book explanation, and it's complicated because a lot of people, there's like this urban legend that some kid set himself on fire and they didn't want to show the Human Torch, a guy catching on fire. But there have been things that debunk that. I mean, there have been people saying that wasn't true. But I can tell you what the Human Torch said in his own words in the comic book. Words put in his mouth by Marv Wolfman, who wrote the comic. There was a excuse me. There was an issue of the FF where it was the Wolfman Burns Sinnott run where they were it was a little bit after 200 something or other, where a few issues beyond that were they actually, it was the first time they put Herbie in the comic. And the new champions are there with Nova. And Nova, they're showing Reed working on Herbie. And they're talking about the robot and something about and this was, I believe, a little while after that stupid 78 FF cartoon. And Torch is saying, I wasn't around when they passed out the contracts for that show, so it couldn't be on it. And Nova says, the great mystery of the Fantastic Four cartoon finally revealed. So there you have it. Johnny Storm was not at the Baxter Building and not in on the negotiations when they made that cartoon. So therefore he was not in that cartoon. D. Martin. Oh yes, I went to college at UC Berkeley in the early 80s, and there were 3 comic shops near the campus. Wow, there you go. Yeah, we had a couple of locations back in the early 80s. The one of the shops I was running, and then we had one on the LSU campus as well as our other location. Yes, 3 of them in the 90s and early 2000s. Yep, 2 Crescent City. Yeah, there are 2 Crescent City right now. I go to Oak Street, best shop. Hey, you still go to Oak Street? Oh, you go to More Fun, dude. Next time you're there, tell him Mike Alonso. Tell DC Mike says hello. Mike Alonso says hello. I think DC owns it now, right? And I don't mean DC Comics. The Oberg. Funny, sad story. Hulk was on my pull list. I thought issue 271 was so dumb. I tore it up and threw it away. It was the second appearance of Rocket Raccoon. I remembered he's on the cover. And now worth big bucks. Yes. Well, if it makes you, that's like an Al Milgrom crappy cover. If it makes you feel any better, Doug, I didn't buy that crap. I'd already dumped the Hulk title at that point. And I saw that and like, what the hell? Rocket Raccoon, suck it. You're not the only one, brother. A lot of people just saw that and said, ugh. I had a folder at More Fun Comics for a long time in the 90s. Pat S. When Steve owned it. Well, I think I saw Steve said hello to me on Facebook a few years ago. I know he sold the store, but yeah, I like Steve. But again, I don't know if he still owns it and DC runs it. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Didn't Ben fall in love with that robot? Oh, never mind. That was Lando. What the hell? Oh, shite. Well, look, yeah, a lot of people. You know what's weird? We do have the 2 shops here, and I have not gone to a comic shop in months and months and months. It's never, for the first time in my life since 1981, I've gone the longest ever of not going to a freaking comic shop. It's unnatural for me. Because even when I'm not buying comics, I just feel like I was going anyway. Every week, every couple of weeks, at some point, it got less and less frequent. Cool, man. DC, by the way, Pat S. A few years ago, he sent a bunch of old toys he had in this box or something to Retro Blasting, my good Retro Blasting friends. And they shouted him out on it. More Fun Comics in New Orleans. And yeah, so it had a bunch of like old loose toys in there. And they did a video about it. So, yeah, DC's cool dude. I got along with him anyway. I thought it was pretty cool. Did you ever go to All American Comics in New Orleans? A.G. Parr? Rest his soul. He was a good dude. J.T. Kirk asks, I see 7 or 8 new Funko Pops on TOS coming. What's your thoughts on those things? And did you ever sell them? No, those are way after my time. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Funkos. I've never touched one. I understand they're popular. People like them. No one has to listen to me. But as my good buddy Michael French from Retro Blasting says, he sees them as just ugly dust collectors. And to me, they're ugly. I can't get into them. They did. You know how much I love the Thing. Target has this big, gigantic, ultra big version of a Funko of the Thing. And everyone's telling me they got a Thing Funko. Yes. And I looked at it and go, no. Personally, I don't like Funkos, but I have many, many dear friends whom I love much that do love them and like them. And I know that they go for, a lot of them are very valuable and they got a lot of big collector market going on with them and that kind of stuff. So JT, not my bag. However, I respect anyone who is into those and loves them. It's just, it's cool. Again, remember, I'm the old man sitting on the porch going, oh, Sonny, I remember on my day, we didn't have that kind of toys. Toys look like toys, damn it. Chris Persia definitely is an MST3K fan. It was the same reason why Sandy Frank had 7 Zark 7 to battle 7 Zark 7. Oh my God, it's old. To battle the planet, to Battle of the Planets, which is where Japanese manga and anime never had in their Gatchman or whatever. Yeah, 7 Zark 7, Battle of the Planets. Sandy Frank directed Time of the Apes. Did you watch the MST3K version of Time of the Apes? When there was Sandy Frank. He directed a lot of stuff. Or I don't know if you can call it directed. He translated a lot of stuff from, there was some Japanese imports like Time of the Apes and Battle of the Planets. Gatchman was Battle of the Planets here or whatever. Yeah. Sandy Frank was that guy. Yeah. The Thing, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing, I love him. Yeah, so. Oh, my goodness. Pinfall sometimes. Hey. I don't want any disparaging remarks about Tweaky, bitty. Felix Cilia, who I met once, nice little fellow. I mean to say it like that. Passed away a few months back. Yeah, Tweaky passed away. Bitty. Yeah. Well, oh my goodness. Well, this was just an open messing around stream. Let's see if we have any more questions before we'll wrap it up in a minute. That's cool. Got to see. That's cool. Got to see that. Was that the first trap on Magazine Street? Magazine Street. Oh, so I'm sorry. Was that the first trap on Magazine Street? That place was wild. Oh God, you went to Magazine Street Books? I stuck on the RTA to get there. Oh, I stuck on the RTA to get there. The bus stop right at the corner, Junkie Central of the 80s. Yeah, Magazine Street Books was Sheldon. No, I know you didn't. I know, Steve Mitchell, I'm just messing with you. I know you didn't know that. Dude, come on, I was just messing with you. But yes, Magazine Street Books was Sheldon. He's the guy with the parrot. And, he's a nut. He had this parrot in there, and if you walked in there, and if anybody called it a parrot, if like a kid did, or anybody else, he would freak out on him and say, "That's not a parrot, that's a penguin." And if he would want to kick you out if you didn't say it was a penguin. And those of us would say, "Just shut up. Yeah, it's a parrot. Go to hell." He was nuts. Oh man, I forgot about 7 Zark 7. I didn't like him when I was a kid, but the Gatchman series recently I need to watch. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Eric. Next, Clobby's going to tell us. He's always picking on me. Tell us tall stories that artists used to draw men that looked like men and women, and that looked like women in comics. That never happened. Women always looked like skinny little nothings in comics, always, forever. So, Steve, I knew you weren't. I knew you weren't. We're showing no disrespect to the Mr. Steele. Of course, don't be silly, dude. Oberg, you did not like John Byrne on Superman. What about his FF run? You know, I loved the first few years of his FF run. Although, even then, I don't think he should have been inking himself. It would have been so great if Joe sent out an ink him, but he was stubborn. I don't know. He didn't want to. I don't know. I guess it could have been worse. Could have been Tom Palmer inking, which he loved, and I never could stand him being inked by Palmer. But after a while, it wore thin on me, and then when he started doing some silly shit, and then again when they came out of the Phantom Zone, at one point, and their costume color changed just because the Phantom Zone changed their colors of their costume, and I hated those dark blue with the white outline costumes. I friggin' hated them. Still hate them. Not as much as I used to, but I hate them. That really aggravated me. And then when we realized that he was so in love with She-Hulk, I mean, they're putting her in Avengers, and then when they put her in FF, now I know, by the way, the great Mark C and I have had this talk, and I know what he's saying. It was DC, it was Marvel editorial. They wanted to give the Thing, they wanted to change Marvel 201 into the Thing series, which Byrne wrote the first one. And they, so they were taking out of FF to give him his own series. And so, but Byrne was obsessed with She-Hulk. And as soon as they put She-Hulk in the FF, I was already not enjoying the book that much. I dumped out. I'm like, no, thank you. At the time, listen, I hated She-Hulk, okay? Savage She-Hulk, the first one I thought was a crappy comic. I remember buying the first issue, and John Buscema drew it at least. Then it got really a lot of crappy Mike's Vosberg art or whatever, and I didn't like the series much, and no one really took it seriously. Now that first issue of Savage She-Hulk is going for stupid money. But at the time, I was a reader and a collector. I didn't, I just, if I didn't like it, I didn't buy it, though. I mean, more of a reader than a collector. If I didn't like it, I didn't buy it. I didn't like the art. I thought it looked like shit, so boom, I didn't buy it. And so I do like his initial stuff on FF. I think he got really old quick. I think, not quick, I mean, first couple of years I like, and I think Byrne kind of worn down on it personally. After about like 260, something like that, or wherever, somewhere up in there, I kind of lost interest in it, and I dumped a lot of mainstream Marvel at that time. And I thought Byrne was getting bored with it. It seemed like he was kind of, I didn't really like his work later. But yeah, I love a lot of his FF stuff. I love a lot of his art. I always thought, though, that Byrne never really should have inked himself that much. I mean, he was better with, obviously you're not going to get Terry Austin all the time, and I know he didn't like Joe Rubinstein, I don't think, but Austin, Rubinstein, Sinnott, of course, on FF with Byrne was just, man, Byrne Sinnott on FF was fantastic. Pardon the pun. It was beautiful. I love that stuff. Yes, Pat. Yes, I saw that. Poor Witchy Poo died. The lady from Witchy Poo from HR Puff and stuff passed away the other day. That's right. D-Bar Martin. Oh, yes. Two of the comic stores were a block away from Blondie's. I only at Laval's Pizza because my office was on the other side. Okay, I don't know what that place is, but cool. Pizza? I want pizza now. D-Bud Martin says I loved Byrne's Dr. Doom stories on FF, but I didn't think much of the rest of his FFs. I loved it when Simonson took on FF many, many years later, and he acted like a lot of that crap never happened for a while. He wasn't retconning it. He was just saying that Doom had been out in space for a long time or some crap. It was actually kind of a pretty good run. Didn't last long. It took a couple issues. You remember the parrot at Sheldon's, huh? That guy was scary. Sheldon was, well, Carl was nice to him, and he and Carl got along. But cool old place. He had a lot of stuff. Yeah. If it had an AC. No, it did not have an AC. Because he never turned it on. Yeah. I remember, buddy. Yes, she was 96. Rest in peace to the nice lady. So, yeah. Yeah, that FF run. I don't know. It was okay for a while there, like I said. But yeah, Byrne looked later too. Forget about what I think about it. I don't like a Superman reboot. I got people a little younger me like it. That's fine. I've made my peace with it. But if you just look at his art, not so much on that run at first, but later when he came back and he did Legends and when he did he did Wonder Woman for a while. His Next Man too, and some of his other, and a lot of his other stuff. His Wonder Woman run, like I said, he did not need to ink himself. Steve Mitchum. Now I'm going to have the HR Puffin stuff theme in my head. Yeah, exactly. HR Puffin stuff. If you know what HR Puffin stuff is, you are old, Kimasabi. Yeah. So, and I just got this, and I've just started reading. I got there's a pretty cool site I'm recommending if you like to get trades and hardcovers at a pretty decent price. Called I think in stock trades, I believe.com. Where you get like a $75 omnibus for $42, and then this is a new one too. They just came out with Superman Batman Generations by Byrne. It's got both of the first two 4-issue miniseries, and it's got the 12-issue one he did after that, whatever it was. 12, I don't know. It's got it all in there. And it was a $75 omnibus, so it was $40, $42. So I picked it up a few weeks ago in honor of the great Mark C, because Byrne's his favorite artist. And I've been reading that, and I'm enjoying it so far, because again, before I had a chip on my shoulder about Byrne. The only comic I bought of his after he did that to Superman. I didn't buy a lot of his comics. I didn't really like the Batman Captain America crossover. Even that needed an inker, but I liked his Star Trek for IDW. Not so much his photo novels he's been doing. I mean, they're all right, but I really liked a lot of his Star Trek comics. But anyway, I bought this one, and I've been reading it, and it's pretty entertaining. But the art again, it's fine. It's better than these modern trash that even now. But holy shit, he needed an inker. I say that a lot, but Byrne, when he did that X-Men Hidden Years, he brought in Tom Palmer. Tom Palmer overpowers everybody, and that's his favorite inker. So again, this is on him. I wasn't big on Tom Palmer's inks on Byrne. Palmer also inked Byrne on that Silver Surfer one-shot from the early 80s. That is correct, Pat S. Like you say, South Louisiana heat and humidity can't be good for your books. No, they can. It is not good for your comics. It's terrible for your comics. And you got to got to change your bags and boards a lot of it for a while. And if you're serious about them, or keep them in an air-conditioned climate. Yeah, that's why a lot of times when people find old comics and stuff that no one knew anything about, like in boxes, just strewn willy-nilly in an attic or something here, an attic, they're usually in garbage shape because, again, they're in Louisiana, and they're just sitting in an attic, rotting in this heat and humidity. Whereas if they're up north somewhere, sometimes they find that stuff and they're still in pretty good shape. Lidsville. Well, I remember Lidsville. Sid and Marty Croft were big time. They were on some serious drugs. Let's just put it like that. Yeah. So anyway. Well, what I'll do, I guess I'll go ahead and just wrap it up in a second here, because again, I know I didn't have any kind of topic or anything. I just wanted to kind of hang out with you guys for a while, and we had a lot of wonderful people who popped in earlier. I think my good buddy Paulie over at Latino Slant is either on now or going to be on later. I don't know if he's on. I think he's moved to. I think he may have moved to Wednesday night. I'm going to go check him out and see what he's up to. I think he's having a Cinco de Mayo special. I'll go check and see. And yeah, so Paul is a great guy and a great friend. So there's no other questions, my friends. I just wanted to hang out with you guys for a while. And I guess Flash must have been busy. I'd sent him an invite, but yeah, I'll get him next time. It's not a problem. Let's see here. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I didn't know. I think he's busy. Steve Mitchell. Sid and Marty hired more little people actors than George. That's probably probably. Well, that'd be a lot though, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay, show notes, everyone, my good friends. Let's see here. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. I shall be. Let's see. The Global Geek Gang shall assemble again. So I better make a reminder for it, by the way, on my phone, because I need to be reminded of everything these days. The Global Geek Gang shall assemble tomorrow. At 1 p.m. Center, we're not gonna have a topic or anything that I know of. We're gonna have some fun though. We're gonna have all kind of different crazy crap going on, just geeking out like we do. It's not a topic, but we're gonna do some stuff. Future Global Geek Gang Thursday shows, of course, are gonna be. Let's see, we're gonna do a Doctor Who one about the Doctor Who we love. There's so much bad things going on in Doctor Who. We're gonna do one. We'll just talk about Doctor Who that we love. In the not too distant future, not next Sunday AD, we'll be doing a Blake 7 show. And of course, since this is the 60th anniversary of my beloved Fantastic Four, we're going to celebrate that a lot. So the topic shows are a lot of fun. Had a fantastic time with our Green Lantern Roundtable episodes that we did, and our Legion of Superheroes episode that we did was a lot of fun. And so we're going to do topics as much, whenever not always a topic, but we're going to try to get as many topics in there as we can. And we're going to celebrate my beloved Fantastic Four this year, more ways than one. We're definitely going to do it on the Global Geek Gang. And on Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. But before that, this Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, my wonderful first officer, the extraordinary Raquel Briggs, and myself will be doing our usual Saturday night Star Trek episode reviews. Reviewing our ongoing mission is to review all of real Star Trek. That means 66 through 05 only. We're getting near. This is the penultimate episode of our review of Star Trek, the original series. We started back in January. And usually we do 4 episodes. But Saturday night we're going to do 5 because with 10 left, we decided we didn't want to have a show where we only had 2 episodes, and it would expedite matters. We're in that 3rd season, which is rough. Whew. So we're going to review 5 this week and 5 the next week, but we're going to compact it. We'll work it out. We'll definitely do it. We're not going to drag it out longer just because of that. The show lasts a long time anyway because we have so much fun with you all. You all are just fantastic in the chat. I have so much fun. So much fun. Yes, Fat Steven is Bat by Pat S. Oh, Pat S, I appreciate you, bro. So anyway, JT Kirk, no, I did not know about the actor who played Genghis Khan dying. Genghis Khan on Star Trek? In Savage Curtain, you mean, or what? Or in something else? I don't know. Didn't John Wayne play Genghis Khan? Anyway, so 5 more episodes this week. And then Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. Thanks to Steve Mitchell reminding me of it. That is, Monday night will, of course, be would have been the great Mark C's birthday. That's May 10th. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Steve mentioned, yeah, we have a fantastic time on Star Trek. Saturday Star Trek has been so wild and amazing. You guys have made it great. But yes, Monday will be the great Mark C's birthday. And my good buddy Steve Mitchum will be joining me to, we've decided, since it is Comics Talk, the show's named after him perpetually. He was a big John Byrne fan. So we thought we would talk about, John Byrne will be our subject matter, the art of John Byrne and his career and stuff like that. And we'll talk about, we'll do that, but we're going to talk, it's about Mark C, not so much John Byrne, but yeah, we're going to talk about John Byrne's work because that was his favorite artist. But we'll also, because a few months back, Mark C and I did a show where we counted our top 25 all-time favorite comic book artists. So I'll touch on that as well, his favorite artists and things like that. But yes, we'll talk Byrne. We'll talk some of Mark C's favorite comic book artists. And we'll pay tribute to our dear departed friend. And that will be Monday night, same bat time as we're here tonight, 8 p.m. Central. So that will be great. That will be fantastic stuff. So let's see here. I want to thank everyone who popped in tonight. Of course, the wonderful, the magnificent Purple Valkyrie, who again was so nice and wonderful to me this morning on her show. I was absolutely honored to be on her wonderful show this morning when we talked about Invincible, reviewed Invincible. It was a lot of fun. You can go to her channel. There's links to all these wonderful friends' channels in my description below, including hers, and you can find that if you so choose of us talking about that. And also the great Steve Mitchum, who will be with us Monday night. Yo, brother, appreciate you, buddy. The great Lord Thoth was here. I'm not sure if he had to leave or not, but Lord Thoth, Avon lives, and long live the Legion, my friend. The great Mark D with a C. Yo, buddy. Appreciate you, bro. Great pal, Pat S. Buddy. Always a pleasure. The great Eric K. Appreciate you, bro. Always, man. And the great Chris Persia. I always just appreciate you and what you do, sir, as well. You guys are great members of the Global Geek Gang, and you're great clobberers, buddies. JT Kirk, always a pleasure to see you here, my friend. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And by the way, Mark D with a C has a channel. He streamed today. There's a link to his channel below. Please go check his channel out. D-Bud Martin. D-Bud Martin, it is always a pleasure, my friend. Appreciate you. Dark Shadow Logan, thank you for being here. Apollomes Minion, thank you, my dear. Your Muslim uncle, I appreciate you, sir. It's always a pleasure to see you here, my friend. Let's see. I'm trying to remember some of the other friends who popped in. There were a bunch of them earlier. Jobber was here earlier. Jobber, if you're still there. Dadman Walking was here. Thank you. If you're still here, appreciate you. I think maybe Darren M was here earlier. I can't remember everyone. Because the chat goes away on you, and you forget people, stuff like that. I don't like to forget anyone. If I missed anyone, I apologize. Just the chat kind of disappears on you after a while. So I want to thank you all. I know it was a nothing stream, didn't do a damn thing, just chattered all over the damn place. But it was just geeking out at the comic shop, just talking about different stuff. So okay, thank you. Steve mentioned Darren M was here. I can't remember. I'm sure there were others that I may have forgotten about. I'm sorry if I did. But whoever was here, look, just again, it's old man's memory. It's not personal, and I appreciate you so much for being here. D. Oberg, there you go, dude. I hadn't seen you in a while, man. I hope you're doing great, buddy. And I appreciate appreciate you. You're a big comics guy and a great fan. A great fan of comics. And a great friend to the show. Doug Oberg, buddy, don't be a stranger, man. Always pop in when you can, brother. It's great to see you. And anyone else I may have missed, well, you know me. Crap memory. So anyone else who was lurking or whatever, thank you so much. I want to wish you all a fantastic rest of the night. And again, I'll see you here tomorrow at the Global Geek Gang. I hope I will see you all here. We're looking forward to it. So I will, and again, always a big shout out to the amazing, the great Stone Loki for this outro that he made for me. Good night, everyone. Take care.